Hello and welcome to my August Empties video. Can you believe it? About August? It's over. Time. No books again this month. It's been a little cuckoo. I haven't had that much reading time. And so we're starting right back in on movies once again. And first movie is Smokey and the Bandit. Watched this with Dagan. Super good movie. Give me a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper, and make it snappy. I'm in a goddamn hurry. We got super into the trucker slang. We got into the movie. This was a fun Sienna and Dagan watch. I recommend, especially if you like to road trip. This one I watched with the family, and by the family I mean my sister and her best friend Tess. This was horrifying. What they describe in the book, they show in the movie. So be warned for that. Oh my god. So upsetting. It was upsetting. It had like it felt like it had like a different messaging than in the book is what I'll say. And I like the book messaging better. I think that there was just a lot of stuff I feel like wasn't really explained in this movie that they do explain in the book because you're like hearing people's thoughts. So anyway, this was a crazy wild ride. And then of course, next day I had to go and watch part 2. And this was great because I want to say, okay, spoilers for Twilight, last one, okay, skip ahead probably about 30 seconds. When she becomes a vampire, then it's like they're equals and it's awesome. I probably talked about this when I read the book, but basically it's like I like their dynamic when they're like both vampires and they're figuring out and their strategies. So I thought this one was great, honestly. And I did know the big spoiler though, so that definitely reduced the tension. Great movie, great book, I thought. Grain of salt, of course. This was a whole family watch. You know, this was great. The Dagan's take that I'm going to repeat here and steal, but credit, not plagiarism, is that they really nail the, like, very kind of naive, like, optimistic kind of Superman vibe from the comics. I thought that made sense. I haven't read the comics, but it's just fitting in my head. So I liked this movie a lot. I thought it was very fun directing. I felt it was well cast. The acting was fun. Yeah. So I don't know. Text me for more deets, I guess. Great movie. And I don't always love a superhero movie. Sometimes it feels phoned in. They were trying on this one, I have to say. I got that sense. Watched this with some friends. I had seen at some point the very first Star Wars A New Hope. Did not remember a thing though. So this was kind of a foray into Star Wars for me. This was crazy. And I feel like I could get into Star Wars and I probably will really watch them all at some point, but I feel like I need someone, not just anyone, someone I love and trust at the end of every movie or during and throughout to explain to me what has happened. Because I can't, it's just, I don't have a mind for that kind of thing. But part of it might have been that I have not seen the first 3. So, yes, Natalie Portman. I watched this in theaters with Dagan. I thought it was good, thought it was fun, and had a good sense of humor, but I could have used for it to be a little bit wackier and a little bit less grim, personally. A little bit too much carnage. That's my opinion. But I like the ending. Watched this with some other friends, and this movie, Shorts, you might remember this from childhood, if you're my age, or my childhood, if you're my parents. Same director as Spy Kids, Shark Boy, and Lava Girl, and also in college, I watched a short film that he made, like, as a kid, where, like, he's acting in it as a kid and his sister, I think. And that short film had so much this energy, even more than it had the energy of like Shark Boy and Lava Girl or whatever. So it was really fun to watch this and feel like this is like what he always wanted to make. It's like a movie for kids, but it's also like a movie for like him when he was a kid. You know what I mean? And that was so fun. The aesthetic, I really enjoyed this. There's like, it's just like perfectly kind of cartoony over the top without being too cartoony over the top. I don't know if there's a limit for that for me, but and funny and awesome. And there were a couple child actors I was like, those guys went in to be in TV shows that I know. So that doesn't matter, but I thought it was fun. Shorts, just one TV show, which was Death Note. Watched this with Dagan Anime, usually I'm going ahead and watching that with Dakin. That's, I guess, our tradition. I saw someone out in public with a Death Note shirt on recently. I said, I just finished watching that. And they said, that's cool. And this is my review of it. First of all, the premise, like the setup and everything, and like what it kind of becomes, is like so compelling. There's like this really interesting like pas de deux of like good guy, bad guy, both really smart, both trying to get as close to the other one without being found out as possible. You know what I mean? So there's like just, I really, really enjoyed the game of chess being played like between the two kind of main characters. I feel as though it sort of jumps the shark maybe around like episode 25 or 30 out of 40 episodes. And they like just are like adding in characters I don't really like that are new, like at the end. It's like, anime loves to do that. Don't do that. And just kind of like the stakes get kind of wonky and whatever. I kind of like the ending, very ending, but the tail end lost me a little bit, but worth finishing, I would say. Kind of a lot of goops this month, but they're all little, mostly because of for travel reasons. So here we go. Sunscreen. Gotta use sunscreen if you're going outside. You've heard all about that already if you're online. I guess my corner of the internet at least. I finished a shaving cream. Okay, here I always am having thoughts. I'm in search for the perfect shaving cream. I liked this a lot. It was clearly from a tube, not spray foamy kind. So usually my experience with that is it's more moisturizing. My skin likes it better, but it's harder to see where I've already shaved, and so I miss spots. This was not so hard to see where I already shaved, but shaving, it just like always causes me pain sometimes, and it feels random. Like I'll change the shaving cream, it'll get better, and then it'll get worse. The razor is new, it's too new, it's too old. You know what I mean? So it's just like, ugh. But anyway, honestly, I don't think this caused any problems, and I think it was pretty good. So that was my experience of that. Travel size floss, gotta be flossing. Travel size toothpaste. I think Henry left this at my apartment. So thank you, Henry. I finished it up for you, and now it is getting a proper send off in the Empties video. Another travel size floss. I'm not crazy. I do floss basically every day, but they just don't come with a lot in them. And I got this one for free from my dentist's office, but the problem is that I ran out of it midway through the trip, had to go buy a full size floss, and I already had an open floss. I just didn't have it with me in my bag. So now I've got two flosses, like some kind of weirdo. Okay, and then very lastly, conditioner from a hotel. This was a one hit for me. I finished this in one go. I do use a lot of conditioner because I do, and maybe this will freak people out. I don't know if this is common. I do the roots. I get really in there with the roots because otherwise I kind of get dandruff. So, and so there you go. Those are my goops, and therefore those are my empties. Kind of a short one. A lot of movies, a lot of goops. Heavily weighted. But thank you for watching anyway, and please comment below if you watch any of the movies or have watched any of the movies that I said and have any thoughts, or if you use any of these exact same goops, or Death Note. Thank you for watching, and have a great September. I'll see you at the end of September, my birth month, so maybe I'll have something to say about that. Bye bye.